Hey everybody, welcome to Power Hour with me, your host Ron Harris, and all the way from the United Kingdom, the one, the only, Tiger Thomas, actual name Giles. Good afternoon for you, Giles. How are you, sir?
I'm jolly good, Ron. Temperature's starting to drop a bit now, but yes, I'm feeling good, and good. Excited to get this one going, mate.
So, big news. Romania Muscle Fest. It wasn't a big news in the fact that, oh my gosh, who's going to win? It was a slam dunk, but it was an opportunity for Andrew Jack to show the greatest physique package ever. It's 4 weeks post Olympia. He said he wanted to do this contest to try to push the conditioning. Not only was he in better condition than Olympia, he looked a little bigger to me. Man, what were your first impressions? Because you know Andrew very well. You've had him on tour. You know that physique better than most people. What'd you think?
In 30 years, I've never seen anyone at a post-Olympia show actually get bigger. I've seen bodybuilders come in fuller, but how on earth I've been messaging him back and forth for the last 2 or 3 days. I'll tell you why in a minute. And I just couldn't believe, because like his shoulders, I was like, what's happened to his shoulders? His shoulders look not just fuller, but bigger and denser. His front lat spread is like, it's giving me serious like Ronnie and Dorian vibes now. I mean, not just, like I said, not just in terms of fullness, like it looked like he actually gained muscle. So honestly, I was losing my mind yesterday. I was messaging him and everyone was chatting, and on the comments, and I was thinking, it can't be just the lighting, it can't be that. So anyway, so I've been messaging Kamal as well. And doesn't it go to show that heavy basic training, because I spoke to Andrew, and he said, well, this is, working with Chris Aceto and Kamal. And I mean, I've trained with Kamal. I've photographed him and filmed him, several times. I've known him since 1997. And he's old school. It's, like Jay Cutler type, sort of free weights, bench press, squatting, high volume, just, short rest. It's just like proper graph, very little machines, or centered around like any like cables and stuff like that. It's just good old basic training. And look how Andrew's body has responded. I mean, to think that he's done that in 4 weeks, I think now everyone's just kind of accepting that, he is really an extremely strong contender for winning the Olympia and possibly the Arnold and the Arnold UK next year. So, because I think 6 to 8 pound on top of what he had at the Olympia, for me, I think would be a very hard, given what he's done with his conditioning and all those areas that he's, from the back and everything he's kind of filled in. I'd seen what he's done here in 4 weeks. There is so much excitement around him now. I'll ask you, Ron, where would this package have placed at this Olympia?
I would have had this winning the Olympia. I mean,
yeah,
people were saying a lot of people felt he was going to win. He should have won that Olympia anyway. But this is better than he looked 4 weeks ago.
Incredible.
Did he tell you it was 6 to 8 pounds, or is that my imagination?
No, he didn't. He didn't mention any body weights, and I've not asked, to be honest. It just everywhere. Like, and also, did you notice he's fixed these? I mean, it's still not perfect. It's still room for improvement. But you noticed he started to fix those side shots, the side chest and the side tricep. Yeah. I feel like there was a few. I mean, there was another thing is he's not. The only thing I think now is he's not holding his poses long enough. That's the only criticism I can think of right now. But the things that he was critiqued for, which was the way he was hitting those side shots. I feel like he's really started to nail those notes. So it's good. It's like Crizzo. You guys like him, they take the critique, they take it on board, and they fix it. So when they do hear, these this feedback from fans, judges, or whatever, it's good to know that they do take it on board, because this package here was, that's what I want to see from a Mr. Olympia. I mean, I'm no disrespect to anybody else, but personally, with what I like, that is basically kind of what I want to see from Mr. Olympia. And I think there was no real benefit of doing this show because he was already qualified for the Olympia. But I now see why he did this one, and he kind of kept quiet. Look at the midsection. It's like a men's physique midsection, and it's just, honestly, mate, it was, because I'll be honest, I wasn't overly excited about this Romania show to see as much as I was at Prague, probably because I was at Prague. I didn't expect to be this kind of amped up from, like a post-Olympia show that, was obvious. It was obvious he was going to win. There was no one really in his league to challenge him, no disrespect to the other guys, but there are levels to this. So, I mean, look, to me, he literally looks like a superhero.
Okay, you know, the thing that I'm really pleasantly surprised about is he's 40 years old, correct?
Correct.
So a lot of people have been talking smack over the past couple of years. Even when he was like 38, they were saying he was 40. They say, you know, bodybuilders typically don't improve at that stage in life. And I didn't see much improvement in Andrew over the past couple of seasons. From the time he turned pro to the 2 years after that, I didn't see much improvement at all. But I am seeing it now, which is, you know, it has to be, I mean, Kamal, I have to talk to Kamal. He has to take some of the credit because he's training in a totally different style now. That has to have had something to do with it, because what else could have possibly changed?
No disrespect to the other guys, but how often do you see the kind of the Dorian, the Ronnie, the Arnold, the Lee Haney, the style of training that has given us, you know, all these incredible legends of bodybuilding nowadays? Because a lot of these athletes, they'll be contracted to equipment companies, and they're all, you know, like say Terence Ruffin, he's actually a partner in that new, is it Bolt? I think he's with Bolt.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like he's actually got, like, you know, like, and then you got Urza, you know, they're not just contracted to these companies, they actually have a share of the company. So they, you know, they'll like say Terence, he's actually involved in the R&D of sort of machines. So, but now, you know, you've got Kamal, who's just basically taken Andrew. I mean, I've trained with Kamal. He trains hard. He trains fast. It's a lot of free weights, and also the form and the technique is perfect. I mean, I posted a bit of an obscure post yesterday, which had me and Kamal on. I said, this is a bit of a weird congratulatory post for Andrew. I said, but, you know, go through it and read what I'm sort of writing here, because that style of training, you know, it's built some incredible physiques. But look at just the proofs in the pudding. Look at the improvements he's made in just such a short space of time. Because the thing is, Andrew, yes, he's new to bodybuilding competition, but he's been training for years. And this is a guy that was basically like playing at it, you know, just going to the gym. He had his job. It wasn't something he ever took seriously. And I mean, when he was here, we did the tour last year. He was sat out here. I mean, the amount of food that he was eating to be a competitive bodybuilder. He said, like in the off season, he said his food drops right down. You know, it's like when Ronnie first walked into the gym, and, you know, and just doing a few sort of a few multi-gym machines and stuff like that, and they already look like they're competitive bodybuilders. They jump into a show and they win every show, you know. So when these guys like Andrew start doing everything, and I mean everything right, you know, to the level of training, diet. I mean, you got Kamal there. Look, you know, watching him every single rep, every single set. The difference, you know, for the extra couple of % is basically what we've seen in this last two shows, because the proof's in the pudding. It works, you know. So, and I mean, even when Andrew was on the tour, and I said, he said, oh, I'm just maintaining now. I'm just training, because as I said, we did a collab with Nathan Diasha. And like I said, they were literally chatting in between reps, and he was incline pressing on the Smith machine 4 plates aside. And I said to him afterwards, I said, mate, I thought you said you weren't training. He says, no, this is basically like cruising training. This is kind of like, you know, like I did that tour with Brandon Curry, and then Derek trained with him, and he absolutely buried Derek. And I said, I thought you weren't training hard. He says, no, this is me training at 60%. So these guys, you know, the level they're at with their training, and you know, the strength and the volume and the kind of the endurance and stuff is on another level, because at the end of the day, these guys are on another level.
So the thing that I wish they could train together all the time, but Kamal's in Tampa, Florida, isn't he?
Yeah, I believe Andrew went. What I've heard is he was there for 2 months before the Olympia, so they had 2 months to train together. I mean, 8 weeks is actually quite a long time. I remember I had a training partner, a 70-kilo guy, and he'd made top 6 of the British finals, and he was pretty good, but his form was terrible, and there's a few things he needs to tidy up. And I remember just training with him for that year, and all I did was just watch his reps, slow his reps down, you know, and just basically more control, and just these tiny little differences. He jumped up to 2nd place at the British finals. So if you've got somebody there that is watching you and making sure that you're not just coasting by on your genetics, and you're actually training effectively, and not just, you know, hard, but like every rep is watched, and you know, and like when I bench press, like my shoulder sometimes rotates, and sometimes I have to have somebody to watch me to say, keep your shoulder down, little stuff like that, which can make all the difference.
Yeah. I want to note that he is using machines and cables here, but this is right before the show in Romania.
Yeah.
So off season was definitely more. You spoke to Kamal, a lot more free weights. In case people are going to call you on that and say, I don't see him using any heavy barbells or dumbbells.
But it's like Lee Priest, like Lee said, when I was a pro bodybuilder, he said I took pro bodybuilding and training as my job. He said, so I would go to the gym and train for 2 hours, then go back later on and do calves or abs or do an hour of cardio. It's like some of these guys, you know, they like I said, Kamal. I mean, I remember photographing him before the 2018 Olympia. I went down to his gym in Northampton. I think it was 6 weeks out from the 212 Olympia, which he won the following year. And like, I mean, I was like, my arms were aching like from filming him because it was set after set after set after set. And some of it wasn't necessarily heavyweight, but the form was immaculate. And I mean, how often do you see people doing like proper, like easy bar skull crushers now? It's all, everyone's on their cables and then they're messing around on their phones. And, you know, it's just nice to see, you know, sort of old school basics that work. It's like, so that's why I don't like a lot of these kind of new shiny gyms, because if I do, I'm searching for the old basic butt benches and the old Smith machines and the stuff that's been around for decades, the pull down. I don't need the fancy. And to be honest, it just goes to show that if it worked for Dorian, I mean, Dorian in Temple Gym, Ronnie in Metroflex, you know, and, you know, Arnold in the old Gold's Gym. I mean, you know, they built incredible physiques with just the absolute basics.
Yeah, this front lat spread on Andrew is just ridiculous. It's about 4 feet wide.
That's, you know, crazy, isn't it?
Another thing that I'm really happy to see with Andrew is the stage presence. He did look, I don't know if lackadaisical is the right word, but for a while it didn't look to me like he was that interested in being up on stage when he was up there. He's more comfortable up there now. He's more confident. He seems to be enjoying himself. And I you know, when it comes down to little tiny details, and people are very close. Once you get to the top 3, 4 of the Olympia, it's very, very close between each guy. Little things like that can make a difference. So I'm so happy to see that change in Andrew.
But I've been speaking to him, and since the Olympia, his confidence is rising, mate. And I think he knows now that he's like I mean, I had him third at the Olympia. I had him a solid third. I didn't, you know. I spoke to some people and they're like, oh, I had him winning and stuff like that. Yeah, okay, but maybe if you break it down pose by pose, and you know, but he's hearing this a lot now, and I think that kind of positive feedback is it's got into his head now, and I think he knows now that this is his time. This is his time now to, because I mean he's doing the Arnold, he's doing the Arnold UK, and he's doing the Olympia, and honestly, and like I've been saying it since the Olympia, before I'd even seen this package, which I didn't think would be possible in 4 weeks. It's like Samson 2 weeks after the Olympia in Prague. He did what I didn't think was possible. I think he actually regained some muscle, not just fullness. So it just shows you that you know, when the body and the mind is willing, you know, the body can do incredible things, because this is almost like a year's difference. What I'm seeing in Romania, it's almost like the kind of progress I'd expected to see at next year's Olympia, not bloody 4 weeks after.
Yeah,
Look at the lats. Look at that's Dorian Ronnie like era vibes, isn't it?
So we're now he's doing the Arnold. My concern, like he has to worry about what I'm concerned about, but there's not much time. I guess all these guys that are going from the Olympia to the Arnold, they have very little downtime. Him even less, because he just competed yesterday.
Yeah.
But Arnold is early March, the very first weekend in March. Assuming that's all he does, he doesn't decide to keep going and do Pittsburgh and New York and Dubai and all these things. Then he could have another 5 months. I would love to see him come out to Tampa and spend a whole off season with Kamal, or at least like 3 months. Imagine what they could do together.
Great idea. No, that's a really good idea, because like, remember what I said about Derek doing Pittsburgh? I thought that it was before the Olympia. I felt like that extended prep after the Olympia, after the Arnold, I felt like it would cost him the Olympia. I was completely wrong, I'm pleased to say. Yeah. So I think that would be a really good idea. Because thing is, I know he's an electrical engineer and he's got his business, but he's kind of at that stage like Ronnie was when he was a cop. You know, it's like he's getting to the point now where the bodybuilding demands and the finances are kind of outstripping, you know, what the return he's getting on his full-time job, which at the end of the day is always going to be there in 10, 20, 30 years when bodybuilding's all said and done. Yeah. Well, maybe not that long because he's 40 now, but like, look at his shoulders. I don't understand how he gained muscle. Yeah. It's just. I mean, I've never, honestly, 30 years, mate. I don't think I've ever seen that level of improvement. And thing is, I mean, yeah, the legs I think were the quads were a tiny bit drier at the Olympia, but like the trade-off with what he's done with the fullness is it's just, I mean, I've been in complete shock for the last 24 hours basically.
And also, when I did the coverage yesterday after the judging, way after the judging, it was like 2 a.m. my time. But people were a couple haters were talking about oil in his arms, oil in his shoulders. I don't see it. And if I saw it, I would call it out. I would at least say, suspicious. I don't see that.
He's just got those crazy muscle bellies, mate. And I've seen those arms up close, and he's flexed them, you know. Because I remember I said it to Zach Kahn once, and I remember I said, this was bloody, must have been 20 years ago or so. And then we were driving, and he literally screeched, and he did like a real hard turn, and because he was annoyed. And I said, what do you think about people saying you're putting shit in your arms? Anyway, so he pulled over the car, it was the pitch black. And he put the light on in the car, and he basically rolled his sleeve up, and he said, look at that. Would you be able to see the fibrous detail? It's the same with Andrew. But I mean, I don't see any, you know, me, I'm always looking for that. I've got to be fair to everyone. It's something I am looking for, but you can see all the different heads of the delts. And I mean, there, look at the outer, see the arrow, the outer, the striations on the outer triceps. If he was pinning that with loads of whatever, you wouldn't be able to see that. So he's just got those crazy muscle bellies that unfortunately kind of does look like, you know, to some with an untrained eye, perhaps that he's pinning those areas excessively with, you know, sight enhancement. The thing is, I mean, he probably putting a little bit of gear in there as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, look at the biceps there. I mean, these are the splits and the peaks that we wanted to see from some Derek. The champion.
I wondered if you were going to go there then, Rob, but you did.
I'm not saying Derek does anything to his arms. Maybe that's just their genetic shape. I don't know. But, you know, these are Mr. Olympia arms. We talk about Mr. Olympia. That's what a lot of people were knocking on Derek is how can he be Mr. Olympia and his biceps are awful? You know, this is the front double bicep shot I want to see in my Mr. Olympia champion right here.
But Ron, imagine say he puts on another 6 to 8 pound and he comes in even sharper than that next year, because now he's on a roll. Now he's got the formula right, and obviously he's training for the most effective, maximizing way for his physique, because you can see what it's done for him. I mean, and also he's managed to keep the waistline nice and tight as well. I mean, he's literally achieved the holy grail of what all pro bodybuilders are trying to do, as in getting bigger, getting more detailed. And also, one of the first things I saw, it was like one of those most musculars, the hand clasp one, like the separation between the brachialis and the delts and the chest. It was all new, and I was like, wow! And I said, he's done that in 4 weeks, and he looks bigger. So, I mean, the win was no shock. I mean, I think we all saw that one coming, but it's just what he presented that I think really has created so much hype and excitement. And of course, I think now he's got a nice early. I mean, I was qualified anyway, but he's got a nice early win to take him into, you know, because he's on everyone's lips now. You know, in bodybuilding, everyone's talking about Andrew, and you know, it's a slam dunk for next year. Because like I said it before the Olympia, I think he can win everything next year. I think he can pull a Derek, mate. And this what I'm seeing here now just further reinforces that, mate. I
mean, well, I don't want to see him win everything, because I don't want him to compete all throughout the season, because I don't want him taking any chances. I would love to see him win the Arnold and then go train. This is the ideal dream scenario. Go to Tampa, stay with Kamal for 3 or 4 months, make some more progress, and come into the Olympia guns blazing and become Mr. Olympia.
But if he's going for the Arnold, he may as well go for the Arnold UK, because what's the prize money at the Arnold UK?
I don't know. It's less.
I think it's quarter. So if he wins the Arnold, that's 750. He's got to have to do the Arnold UK. That's another 250. That's $1 million in prize money. Because unfortunately, that is the downside now of Arnold bumping up the prize money, is that the guys are sort of almost obliged to jump in, you know. So I get why I'd love to see Samson take a year off and just come back to the Olympia like Ronnie did in 2003. I would love to see, you know, the Martins and Nicks, you know, and maybe just say like a handful of good guys show up to the Arnold. But like, I think pretty much, apart from Derek, I think pretty much everyone, and Hadi hasn't said anything, but I think we're pretty much going to see the Olympia lineup again in March. And who can blame them, mate?
Because I agree, because they were so close to the Olympia. I mean, how would you feel if somebody wins the Arnold and you had skipped it and you're like, oh, I could have beat that. I looked better than that at my last show.
Yeah.
And I just lost $750,000 that could have been in my pocket or my bank account.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, the thing is, like, you know, if you've got a shelf life, I mean, Samson said he wants to be done by the time he's 45. He's what, 40, 41 now.
Yeah.
So, you know, and he likes to compete. So, and Andrew now is just took 30, just won Romania. Now everyone's, you know, people like myself are saying he could win everything next year. Why would he pass up that opportunity?
Yeah, I ask you to reconsider with what you said about the quads being drier at the Olympia. And they look pretty dry to me, but maybe they were a touch drier.
Just a tiny. The only thing I could look at the lats. I mean, I'm pointing at the screen now. I know you can't see it, but I'm pointing. I mean, like it. Honestly, I know I'm sounding very excitable at the moment, but like this was unexpected, mate. This was unexpected.
Oh, 100%. And I mean, if people thought he was capable of winning the Olympia before, I think this just drove it further home because who gets better after the Olympia? Who?
It never happens. I mean, at the end of the day, I thought sometimes you can see guys that come in sharper. We see that all the time. We see that every single year in any post-Arnold or post-Olympia show, you know, a show that comes after is like an afterthought at one of the bigger shows, which is fair enough because there are tiers and levels to this. But when somebody comes in, it looks like they've actually gained muscle. Like it just, and also improved his posing and he's more confident on stage. It's like, it reminds me actually of how Derek was in the lead up to when he won the Olympia the first time. Like I remember discussing on here with you, and I said, do you not think that Derek is like acting and like embodying what it is to be a Mr. Olympia? It's almost like it's like if you want to turn pro, you have to believe that you're good enough to turn pro and step on a pro stage. Yeah. And it's almost like Derek was acting as Mr. Olympia before he won it. And I think that's part of like the whole psychological, what gets you up in the day and, you know, in the day when it's hard and in the morning and stuff. And I think that's, I think there's something to be said for that kind of mental attitude. And it looks to me like Andrew knows he's potentially on a huge role here. And I love to see it because we don't want to see him all, you know, with a physique like this. And he knew he was winning it. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. But to come in and actually like properly like step things up and you think, okay, this guy really is starting to believe it now. It's very exciting for us fans, mate.
Yeah, because we talked a couple months ago when Jay Cutler had Regan Grimes on his Cutler cast. There was a part where they did talk about Jay impressed upon him, you have to believe you're going to be Mr. Olympia. If you don't believe it, honestly, genuinely believe it in your heart, it's never going to happen. But then again, Ronnie never thought he was going to be Mr. Olympia, remember?
Well, Ronnie's an anomaly for about a million reasons. So I was chatting to him today, actually.
Yeah. So you've done a tour with Andrew. What do you think about another tour with Andrew?
Well, by the time this goes out today, the poster for the next tour announcing that we are taking bookings, and I've already got a few, and I don't even know how the word got out. I mean, that's how much demand there is for Andrew right now. Yes, I am doing another tour, and it's right after the Arnold UK. Like when you said there, you wanted to see him do the Arnold and then shut it down. It's like, no, I wanted to do the Arnold UK because he's flying in, and then that's where I meet him, like I did with Ronnie last year when Ronnie was attending the Arnold UK. This is, so we are doing a tour, and I mean, I've got the message on my phone. And I said, how many do you want to do, mate? I said, because the demand in you has gone up, tenfold since the Olympia, and especially now it's going to be, with this now. And he said 5, 10, 15. I don't know whether he meant bookings or countries, but he said, bro, let's do it. Let's just do a mega tour. He said, I definitely want Asia in there. I want this country. I want that. And then he was mentioning gyms that I'd already spoke to, and they had already said, yes, we will have him. And I was like, God, this guy. And to hear that level to hear him that keen, that enthusiasm, when some guys, they were like, Nick Walker wouldn't even reply to me, it's like, so, and you're offering them the opportunity to represent, the Olympia, make money and, basically talk about themselves and meet their fans and travel and connect. And thing is, also, we do have a lot of fun on these tours as well, and I mean, Andrew rang me back in the summer. He just rang me out of the blue. All right, mate. And he says, I want to do another tour. He says, because that, the one we did was amazing. He actually sent it again on a voice note, and I was like, because he said I really enjoyed it, and he said, it's a win-win for me. He says, plus I think he knows because when he's back in Dubai, he's like he doesn't really show a lot of himself on, nothing of his. You never see his house, you never see his personal life. Right. It's always just training content. You very rarely even hear him speak, if you've noticed. He very rarely speaks on camera. It's just because he goes to work, he comes home, he goes to the gym, he does his content, he probably has somebody do it for him, and then he goes home, and then he's, so he's so when now he's got this opportunity to do things like tours and stuff. It's an opportunity for him to get out there and actually kind of because I want to promote him I believe he's going to win the Olympia next year. So I want to really promote this superstar and connect him with the fans and really, because that's the whole point of the tours at the end of the day. It's about, presenting these and bringing the fans to the superstars of the industry. So for me, it's a no-brainer. And, to hear him so enthusiastic is, it makes my job just that much more fun.
Well, I don't think you're going to get too much credit for being Mystic Tiger by predicting he's going to be Mr. Olympia next year, because
damn it.
It's not a foregone conclusion by any means. Samson could come roaring back, looking great. Derek could repeat. Hottie could get it back. We have these guys that are all fantastic in their own right and could have a legit chance of winning. But Andrew, he's, I talked to him. I remember talking about him a few years ago when he first turned pro. Someday he might be in the conversation to win the Olympia, but did I think he really was going to? Not really. I mean, but now I'm on the bandwagon. He could definitely win the Olympia.
Well, I said to Samson the last time I interviewed him, I think in 2023, and I said, Samson, I said, look, because this is one Samson, I think he just won the Arnold or he's about to. And then obviously Andrew was, and I said, if you can just do enough. Sorry, if you can do enough to just stay ahead of Andrew, I says, you'll win the Olympia and you'll stay there. And now look what's happened. Looks like Andrew now has legitimately surpassed him. Basically like Samson did with Nathan D'Asha when Samson was going up against Nathan and Nathan was always beating him. And then all of a sudden, it kind of switched roles. But it does make it interesting. Personally, I would like to see Samson skip the Arnold because I'd love to see him go quiet, go to ground. And then obviously if he goes quiet, then that's going to really create so much speculation. Because that Gregory Eulis guy that messages you and me?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You've done some stuff with him before, and he said he calls him and Samson the Nigerian Twin Towers. And he said, and I've said it many times on this show, I said, who would not want to see those two as the last two 6 foot plus, guys that look like living embodiment of superheroes. Because I mean, Samson, this is a blip for Samson because, people wrote Derek off. I mean, people stupidly wrote Derek off last year after he got third at the Olympia last year. And look what happened this year. So for me, I would love to see Samson really keep us all guessing and just try and do his best to try and pull at least come close to it, do what Ronnie did in 2003. Imagine if they both walked on stage next year at the Olympia. And it's holy shit, that is the top two. Because I'll be honest, I think the top three next year, I think it'll be Samson, Andrew, and Martin. I think that I can see that visually clearly as the top three.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Martin's moving up, man. Martin's moving up.
All right. Well, we need to talk a little bit about Martin now. It's that time. So let me set this up. Giles did the pay-per-view commentary. No?
Can I? Because I'm actually not going to listen to this because it actually it makes me that uncomfortable. No, seriously, I'm not actually joking. I can't actually listen to this because it's actually too uncomfortable to watch.
Okay, well, so let me set it up. Yeah? I'll set it up and then I'll tell you take the headphones off. Okay. So Giles did the pay-per-view commentary for Prague just as he did last year, the EVLS Prague show, which Martin repeated. He won both times. In the commentary last year, Chris Bumstead had made his open debut and he was looking fantastic on the first day. It was a 2-day show. Martin was not looking fantastic. He had torn his hamstring on stage while posing, holding a ton of water. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It wasn't a full tear, but it was, he was posing in a little pop. He had a partial tear of his hamstring. So cortisol, water, he got flooded with water. His tan looked awful. I'll show it to you guys right here. This was it. So based on this commentary, this is what Giles saw on the first day. And Giles has no skin in the game. When Martin looks fantastic, he gives him all the praise in the world, as he does for anybody, as do I. When he doesn't look fantastic and somebody else looks like they might be beating him, we're going to say it. I mean, this is what we do. We're journalists. We're analyzing physiques. We're talking about what we're seeing right in front of us. So on that day, Giles, you felt that Martin was losing to Bumstead, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that's all you said. You didn't say, I hate Martin. Martin's mom is so-and-so. You didn't insult him. You didn't say anything, unprofessional or personal, just talking about his physique. Here, one more look again. This was on, I think this might have been the second day. I'm not really sure. No, that's still the first day. Because you could see Martin did tighten up. I know I'm not showing the second day. He did look better.
Ron, he did look a lot better on the second day, but the first day his midsection was watery, and I to be honest, even the way that the judge didn't, Steve Weinberger didn't move Chris Bumstead from the center, that indicated to me as well that they had Bumstead winning. But obviously, it turned out that it wasn't to be. And I mean, Martin tightened up a lot. But you know what? Look how improved Martin is over last year. Because this is the Martin of today is a completely different bodybuilder. The Martin I saw at this Prague is night and day. He's improved so much.
Yeah, I mean, this is we give due credit. He looked fantastic this couple weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago in Prague. It was a much better package.
Yeah,
full, bursting full. Crazy striated. Yeah, this is the last show, right? And he was an easy winner. He beat Mr. Olympia. He beat Samson Dauda. So we give him proper credit, of course. You did. You were right there, and you said nothing but good things about him during this pay-per-view from the bits and pieces I was hearing, because he brought it. This was the best Martin we've ever seen. He's leveled up. He's now in the conversation to become Mr. Olympia. He's that good now. Mm-hmm. So, all that being said, get rid of that. Mm-hmm. All right, so I'll tell you when. So to set this up, this was during the pose down right before the awards 2 weeks ago. So it was just before they were going to go back on stage and just get their awards. The show's pretty much over. I think Martin knew he won at this point. You'd think he just, the crowd, they go out in the crowd and they flex and people take pictures, and it's usually a fun time. And Martin went up to where Giles was sitting was AJ next to you for this part? I don't know who was sitting next to you. Hmm? Anyway, I said, I think it was just you and AJ sitting at the booth at this point, right? Anyway, I'm going to play it, Giles. So take off your headphones. Take off your headphones because you froze on me. All right, take off your headphones.
We're actually stood up. We were actually stood up, and then we're basically filming. So, all right.
Okay. Ready? Here we go. All right. Take them off. And going. Here we go.
Hey, next time you want to talk shit about me, do it to my face.
Okay, it's over, John. So come back and put your headphones on. So I also want to say that Giles never posted it. Not only that, Giles sent it to me. I showed it to my wife on my phone. I showed it to my son on my phone. I didn't send it to anybody, but you did send it to a couple people, I guess, unfortunately. And even though they were told not to share it, I saw it Sunday morning on Matt from Muscle Discord's Instagram, and then Louis Marco got a hold of it. So had that not happened, we would never have shown this or addressed it. Giles had no intentions of ever posting this. But now that it's out there, it's only right that you address it. And so I guess the subject to talk about is, why would he feel the need to be so angry? He hit your phone when all you ever did was critique his physique, and then the next day you gave him full credit for looking better. This is what we do. This is what you've been doing for over 30 years. I've been doing it for 35. We critique physiques. It's not personal, like you said. Even these past couple power hours, you said nothing but nice things about Martin, how great he looked at the show. If you were taking it personal and holding a grudge because he was out of line there, that was out of line. You'd think in the midst of about to win a pro show and you're beating Mr. Olympia, you'd have more to worry about than going up to a journalist and berating him, and luckily people couldn't hear it. It was so loud and everything, but people were asking. I know someone else sent you a video that they took from a different angle and said, what was he saying?
No. Who is the best BB? Who is the best bodybuilder? The Instagram page.
Yeah.
He sent me a different angle from somebody else had filmed. It was somebody who probably would have been in the audience next to AJ, because AJ was stood up. This was like a low down. I've got it on my phone. I'm happy to show it. And he said, was this, who was this said to or something? And I said, it was me. And he said, what did he say? And I said, I don't know. And I said, I don't care. And then afterwards he said, ha, ha, ha. And then I posted, and then I said, please don't post this. And he went, don't worry, I won't. So that was like several weeks ago, because I was on the Ronnie tour. And I'll be honest, the reason, at the end of the day, some of these, some of these, people in the media, whatever, they would have been like, their hands would have been shaking. They'd have wanted to post that so quickly and blow it up and collab with everyone. Right. But I wanted to deal with it kind of, because at the end of the day, I felt embarrassed for them. For Martin and Samson, I felt really, really embarrassed for them, because I just thought, oh my God, did that just happen? Because when it happened, I didn't hear what he said. So I thought he was just like, getting pumped up for the camera, like some people flex. I thought he was doing it like in a positive way. And it was like, yeah. And I was like, and then I looked over and AJ was just like shaking his head. And then everyone started looking at me. And I was just like, hang on, what just happened then? And I saw it. Obviously, Samson was like, fuck him sort of thing. I don't know whether he said that, but that's how it came across. I was like, so anyway, I didn't listen to the video because it was so noisy. And at the end of the day, I was doing commentary.
Well, you had the headphones on too, right? You had the big headphones.
Yeah, the headphones. I had the bloody headset on, and everyone kind of looking at me and like to say, "What just happened?" Then I just kind of started out and just pretended like it didn't happen. So afterwards, after the show, I went backstage, and Lauren came with me. And I said, "Lauren, don't do this." I said, because I want to make myself visible, because if Samson and Martin see me, I want them to basically speak to me face to face. Let's just do it. If because obviously there's clearly an issue, and I want to hear what they've got to say. So I said, Lauren, go wait over there. I'll be there in a second. So I made myself visible. I looked for Samson. I didn't see him anywhere. So I'm assuming that when he came off stage, because he was not happy when he got second, I'm assuming that he just got out of there, because he didn't walk past us. There's I think he must have gone out the back doors, maybe, because I didn't see either of them. I looked actually for him. I looked for, and I kind of stood in this area with my hands like that, and I was like, okay, Martin, if you got something to say, come and say it, mate. But he was obviously so happy he'd won and stuff like that. I was like, okay. Yeah. So anyway, as I was walking off, I forget who said to me, because somebody saw it and they said, oh, I take it you won't be going to the after party now at the owner's house, because every year we go back to the EVLS owner's house. Yeah. And I went, no, I'm going. I said, I'm going. I said, because I want to hear what he's got to say, because this could get dragged out for years online. You know how people, a reaction video. He does a reaction video. It's like, no, I would rather risk having a full-on confrontation, or maybe, thing is, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what this was about. Is this just going to be like come on, Giles, you shouldn't have said that? Or, because the thing is, I know, because everything I say is out there on it's in a magazine, it's online, it's in and the thing is, I'm visible. I'm not someone who hides behind my keyboard and then, just loves the backlash and all the threats and everything else and whatever comes along with it. Like, I'm actually at these shows. So I thought, okay, so, because ironically he said in the video, then he said, if you want to talk shit to my face, say it to my face. Well, I kind of gave him that opportunity to talk shit to me, because I wanted to hear. So anyway, he didn't say anything to me backstage. So I thought, okay, fair enough, he's busy. And the after party, I was stood there. I stood with Terence Ruffin, Lauren, and Hyacinth, Terence's coach. And we were just basically, I was on a glass of wine and stuff. And then in walks Martin. And I just thought, okay, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to say nothing, do nothing, because he knows I'm here. And if he wants to go and have a talk outside privately, or he wants to do it in front of people, he's more than welcome, because I'd rather get it done here now and here, because I'm genuinely curious to hear what he had to say. Yeah. So he must have walked in maybe 3-4 times. He walked right past me 3 or 4 times. And because at one point he must have almost brushed past me. And I was just like, I stood there and I said, Lauren, just give me a minute. And then Terence went off, and it was just basically me at like this table thing. And I was just drinking, and I thought, and then he came in by himself and he was pouring drinks. And I think he came in about 3 times. So maybe there was like 30, 40 minutes where we were literally within 5 feet of each other. And he said nothing. He basically blanked me. So I just thought, and Samson didn't show up. He was there. He was there in 23 when I was there, but he didn't show up. So I was thinking, well, what is this about? Because they're obviously quite angry, enough to do that whilst they literally stood in their posing trunks, covered in like fake tan, and all these thousands of people buying tickets. And they chose that time to do something as public a display as that. So I was just like, what is going on? It's like, because all the magazines are gone now and stuff like, you know, you and me probably had one of the last 2 paid, you know, journalist bodybuilding jobs left in the bloody industry. We held it for how many years? So I was like, I've never experienced this in 30 years. I've never had that. Because at the end of the day, all I ever say is critique of their physiques and stuff like that. I never say anything personal or nasty because I'm just not wired that way. I mean, anything I say is out there.
Yeah.
So that was it. So that was it. So anyway, so after that, and of course, the next day after the show, I had to fly back and rejoin the Ronnie tour. And I showed Ronnie, and he was just like in disbelief, you know. But so I just kind of sat on it. I didn't do anything, and I thought, you know what? It's probably going to be a couple of weeks before I get back and, you know, kind of get resettled like I am now. And I was kind of I've been naively, I was honestly hoping for an apology, because to me that is not cool. And that's why I sent it. The only reason I sent it to different people in the industry, like, you know, like, judges, officials, people I knew that I could trust to not say anything or leak it, is because I wanted their advice. And I said, guys, what does this mean? What does this mean now that we, you know, I'm doing commentary, I'm giving my take, I'm giving my opinion. What does this mean now if we say something an athlete doesn't like? Does this mean now it's a free for all? That because like Samson and Martin both kind of coming at me. It was kind of intimidating. And you know, another thing is it sparked off my heart arrhythmia as well. Like I've got to pay £200 now for an appointment with a bloody cardiologist, because it's getting my breathing going now just talking about it. Because it was, from what I realized kind of what was going on, it was stressful, because I thought, what, like, where does this go? Is this going to escalate? Is this going to happen with other athletes? Or like, because obviously what happened to me in 22, mate, I kind of need to be a little bit conscious of what's going on. Like, you know, when the whole Ronnie thing happened in the summer, I had really bad breathing problems for about 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, for some reason, when I was training back, it was like I couldn't get my breath. It's because it's stress related. You know, it's kind of, even though you might not feel stressed at that moment in time, it's like it kind of manifests itself in, you know, these physical things, which obviously with my heart situation in 22, I've got to be really, really mindful of. So
I just have to interrupt, because not everyone watching has been a long-time viewer. Giles had a heart attack in 2022.
On stage
while he was announcing a show, not doing the commentary from a booth. He was on stage at the podium, had a heart attack, and he had a triple bypass surgery, which it's major open heart surgery. So I just want to make sure I put that info out there. So I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, but like the implications of that, because I thought, okay, fair enough. He's been a bit of a hothead. He's pumped up. He's amped up. Because like when you saw when he won, he was like, yeah. He was like, you know, it was an exciting show. Everyone was kind of, there was so much excitement, and you know, the energy was high and the tension was high because it was close between him and Samson, and we didn't know which way it was going to go. And I just thought, all that work that he puts in for those few minutes on stage, he chooses to take a moment in front of everyone, not even privately, to come at me. And then for Samson to get involved as well, I was just like, what? It was like, did that? And I said to Adrian, and Adrian was going, that was lame, man. That was like, he was really like, and I was like, okay, let's just carry on. Let's just pretend this didn't happen, and we'll deal with this afterwards. But like, I've sat on that video. I had no intentions of posting it. Right. And then when I saw the other day, I was like, oh, and then people started sending it to me and saying, is this you, Giles? Because it's not clear that it's me holding the phone, but it was me. It was my phone. Right. You know, and then somebody said to me from America, he said, oh, you know, it's technically assault and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, well, I'm just glad he didn't smash my phone, because I'd have been screwed on the Ronnie tour without my phone. Do you know what I mean? You know, it was. So, yeah, it's just now I've got to go to a bloody cardiologist because my heart arrhythmia won't calm down. Because once that gets triggered, that's it for 2 or 3 weeks. I'm waking up in the middle of the night. My heart's jumping all over the place. And then I get anxious because I'm stressed about that. But mate, that wasn't a nice thing to experience. And I think somebody needs to have a quiet word with him and say, you know, look, this is, you know, you're a professional athlete. You know, I've heard it like in other sports, like in, you know, football, and, you know, I've heard like the commentator's a savage, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, I'm like, you know, if I point something out on somebody's physique, it's so they can be better. I mean, the amateurs, like, they want to be critiqued. They appreciate it. Like when I'm at Sweden and these other Austrians, other shows, they'll come up to you and say, oh, thank God I've got some actual feedback. And most of the pros, in fairness, do appreciate it and they like it. But some of them, like this, I mean, that he's been holding on to that for a year, because I had, in a close contest with one of the greatest classic bodybuilder of all time, this huge superstar who looked amazing. Like, he's got a problem with me saying that he should have won a year ago. And I'm like, if you actually sit back and really think hard about it, it's ridiculous. What do you think, Ron?
Oh, I agree. And I could almost see it if he was in a position in that pose down where he was losing the show and he knew it, but he knew he was winning. It was a very solid win. He should have been happy, confident. There should have been no room for any type of negativity in his mind there. And especially to say, hold on, I'm going to go right over to Giles over there specifically. He walked directly up to you, yelled in your face, and smacked your phone. I mean, I just don't get it. Why wouldn't you be? Because clearly in that speech I just showed, he was very happy. See, there he is. He's got his coach and girl. He's got.
The thing is, wrong. How is that not talking shit to his face? That's saying, like, you want to say it to my face. Well, I kind of gave him that opportunity afterwards when I literally stood in the middle where there was this clear area right in his line of sight backstage, and he chose to say nothing, do nothing. I even went to the after party so we could at least sort it out. I mean, you know me. I mean, I've had a couple of confrontations with people, 3 I can think of actually when I've been with you. At the Olympias and the Arnolds, and I don't want to reel the names off because I don't want to dig it up because it was dealt with, But like I've had face to face. I mean, remember that one at the Olympia in when everyone stepped back because they thought it was going to be a fight, and I was like, and 10 minutes later we're like hugging each other and we've sorted it. We're shaking hands. Because I'd rather sometimes have these. I know we're in an era where, somebody will bitch about somebody online, and then someone says there's a reaction video, and then 2 weeks later they're at a show and they basically blank each other. And I don't understand that mentality, because it's like, just sort it out, talk, I mean, because there was a bit of tension last year at the after party when I went out the room and Lauren comes back in and she's like, she was upset because they're talking shit about you. And I went, what? She said they're upset that they said you called your commentary arrogant. I'm like, why? And I said, and then AJ kind of said, look, why don't we talk about it? And I kind of got where he was coming from. I said, no, AJ, I said, I've got bloody Ronnie here. Ronnie Coleman at the owner's house. I said, I've got Lauren here. I said, if there's any opportunity that is going to kick off, because I said, at the end of the day, I stand by what I say. It's an opinion on a man's physique, which basically is what I'm here to do. This is my profession. Yeah. So, because you can't block me in real life, when I'm there. And I said, if they want to come and speak to me, I'm sat right here. And I stayed there for about another hour, 2 hours, well, about an hour or something. I said, if they've got something to say, I'm more than happy to discuss it here. If they want to go outside privately, I'm more than happy to do so because I know how things escalate, So I tried my best to handle this. But when you're involved in something you do not see coming, because there's no beef between me and Martin before. I mean, I've talked last year about doing a tour with him. Yeah, and he's given me some fantastic interviews. I think and the thing is, like, okay, let's talk about him as a bodybuilder. Where did I have him at the Olympia last year?
3rd. You had him beating Derek.
3rd. Where did I have him this year?
4th, beating Samson. And yeah, you've always been very complimentary toward his physique. When you had Global Muscle video series, you had him on a few times.
Mm-hmm. I went backstage and I was chatting to Stefan and I said, Stefan, how did he take one of his weakest, his only real weak pose was real bicep. I said, how did he turn that into one of his best poses? I said, it's incredible. And I said, good work, guys, good work. It was me, Stefan, and who was it? Oh, Hassan, I think, the Ruffians coach. So, but I don't know why Samson got involved as well, because that was really disrespectful. It was really like I don't know what he said, but I can't imagine it was very complimentary. But why would Samson get involved with that? With someone that is like, and when you're literally supposed to be doing because these guys get paid a lot of money to stand up on stage for a few minutes a year, and they choose. Like, I think it's disrespectful to the promoter. I think it's disrespectful to the fans. I think it's. And to be honest, I felt embarrassed, but not for me, for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair to Samson, he didn't instigate it. He's not the one that came up to you. It was. I think he asked Martin, "What'd you say?" And Martin yelled something into his ear.
But why get involved? It's like you're doing a pose. Now go and hit some poses. Like, do what you're bloody here to do. Don't get involved in drama. Because like I said, I saw him backstage. Because I saw Samson backstage through the day, and I thought, and he looked over, and I kind of looked over, and I gave him a nod, and. It's like if there's an issue, and the thing is, they've got my number. Like if they've got an issue, they've got a genuine grievance, bloody pick up the phone and ring me and say, Giles, I'm not happy with what you said. Because the thing is, they know they don't have a leg to stand on because it's just basic physique critique. And, you know, if you can't take it, then I think you're in the wrong sport, mate.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're looking at Martin here. He looked fantastic. Best Martin ever.
Better than he was at Olympia, actually.
Better than what? Exactly. So we were just talking about how Andrew was better. He wasn't bigger, but he was definitely tighter, definitely fuller. It was a better look.
And also, sorry to interrupt. I'm so sorry, but like when I spoke to Ildiko, that head judge, and I said to her, and she said, we were talking about Samson and Martin. I said, because I was so close, because on the first day I couldn't decide between who was better. I said, you got Samson, better structure, and it's taller, wider, and two different types of physiques, like it was with Chris and Bumstead and Martin last year. I said, then you got Martin, and anyway, so she said Samson kind of he was better than he was at the Olympia, but the back is still not back to how it was last year when he won the Olympia. But everything else was looking good. It was looking like almost back to the usual Samson, the Olympia winning Samson. It was like really much closer. But Martin, she said, I don't know how. She said that's very unusual. I said this in last week's Power Hour. She said it's very unusual, very rare to see someone that can hold their peak like that for 2 days. She says it was incredible. She says, and whereas kind of Samson kind of faded just at the last round of posing, you could see he was just starting to flatten out, and because like I said many times, the bigger guys, they tend to, their bodies can change for the better or worse very, very quickly. So anyway, like my heart's racing now just talking about it because it was so uncomfortable, and I wanted to keep it offline, Ron. I did. I'm not one of these people that some of these YouTubers and Instagram be like, if that happened to them. I remember when Louis Marco got his friend to film because he went over to Bonac. Do you remember years ago at the Expo? Yeah, Bonac was just. I thought Bonac was going to rip his head off. I mean, because. These they are annoying. Some of these they do stuff, and then he did it. He was like, oh yeah, we'll trigger him. We'll get this on camera, like stuff like that.
Right. Like
that makes me. I find it really embarrassing, and I think because we look up to these guys as like heroes, and a lot of people in the industry do. And the thing is, like, I've just done a tour there with Ronnie Coleman. I've got the respect and trust of people like that. In fact, I want to finish off actually when we're right at the end. I want to the message Ronnie put on the group chat, which I want to read out just so we end on a more of a positive, because me, I like to keep everything kind of positive and about bodybuilding. I don't like it to be personal. It was very unpleasant, Ron. It was not cool. And in 30 years, because that Milos thing a few months ago, there was a couple of months when I didn't even want to do this podcast, mate. I was done. I just thought, okay, the magazines are gone now. This is how people are conducting themselves. This is what's pulling views. Maybe this is the sign for me to go off and just do something else. And, and eventually my enthusiasm and my love came back, and I feel like I've got my mojo back. And then shit like this happens, and you just think, really?
Yeah. I mean, I would never have done anything with that video if it hadn't been leaked. And it's a bad look for Martin. I don't know if he would even consider apologizing, or if he thinks
I want an apology. I think that's fair. And I think that's the decent thing to do. So sorry, man. The more I think about it, the more it pisses me off, actually.
So, I mean, speaking to Martin, I mean, if I could, I don't know if he's ever going to hear this, but Giles was talking about your physique last year in Prague. That's what he's paid to do. They fly him over to these shows. They could have anybody do the pay-per-view commentary, but they appreciate what he brings to the podcast, to the pay-per-views, the live streams. That's why they bring him. They want to hear his analysis, his critique, his commentary. It's interesting. It's informative. He's been doing this a very, very long time. And, when he sees great things in the physique, he talks about it. When he sees things that could be better or aren't so great, he talks about it. So it was never personal. We've been very complimentary, both of us, about you, Martin, because you look fantastic. I thought you should have placed higher at the Olympia. I think you can be a Mr. Olympia now. I'm very impressed with the improvements you've been making in your physique. You and Stefan have an amazing partnership. You work very well together, and I think you're going nowhere but up in the standings of the sport. But I would love to see you, Martin, just apologize, even a little brief post. I was out of line, or emotions were running high, whatever the case may be. I'm sure there was things roiling through your head in that moment of time that compelled you to do that. But I think Giles deserves better. I think he does. You do deserve an apology, Giles. That's all.
Thank you. And the thing is, Ron, like I was really excited about doing a tour with him. And the thing is, like he said, "Oh, you'll be great. I'll have a few days where I go and see Stefan, and and you're getting them out, and like all the positivity and also all the work and the stress that kind of goes into pulling these like hugely positive, I can't think of a different word, these joyous kind of tours that we do, and everyone, like people come up to you and they're like, oh, this means so much to me. I've met Martin and Ronnie and whoever. It really, I get a lot of satisfaction. I get a real kick out of it. Do you know what I mean? Because like otherwise, all we get, I remember growing up as a teenager and meeting like the superstars at the time. It's huge. Like Kevin Navrone, that 1994, like spending those few hours with Kevin Navrone has got me right here, right now, because he was the one who encouraged me to start doing the media work. Like so, like they can be life changing. Some of these interactions, like people come like 4 or 5 hours drive, or two people like the Ronnie, like they've driven 4 hours and driven through the night to come see Ronnie and stuff. So stuff like that. So we could have been doing a tour. And the thing is, mate, they make bloody good money as well. And it's just it's like you've seen some of the prize money, some of the shows. You just think, oh man, you just. Like, why did you have to go there? Why did you have to do it there and then? If you had a genuine grievance, you could have DM'd me, you could have spoken to me and say, Josh, I'm not happy about that. And, it could have been dealt with away, offline. And now it's kind of all public, and it's embarrassing for the sport, for everyone. I feel embarrassed, and it's just not necessary, mate. And it's, I could imagine like, Dorian going for Pete McGough at the Olympia or something for something he said. It's like the thing is that's the equivalent, because it's ridiculous. You've got to choose your moments, And there's a way to conduct yourself as a professional, because that is what you are. You are a professional. I mean, in some sports, I can't imagine the backlash if they, if that was in some other, like if you're a footballer and you do stuff like that, you can get fined like hundreds of thousands of dollars and suspended, and it's like I don't know. I just. Like I said, I did my best to keep it offline, and I swear on Lauren's life, I didn't, leak that to anyone, because those two guys we mentioned that posted, I don't even speak to them. I've never spoken to them once, like in DMs or anything. I don't have their numbers. I'm not in contact with them, and I'm not that upset about the fact that somebody, because I know what happened. Somebody would have got it and said, I'm going to send this to 3 people I trust, and those 3 people are going to send it to 3 people they trust, and it only takes one person to go, you didn't get this from me, mate. And then that's it, boom. But I don't know. It's it is what it is. But it's and I tried. Thing is, like, and what got me thinking, I was in the gym the other night. I was chatting to one of the lads, Billy, that works in the gym, and I told him about it. I showed him the video, and he says, "Well, why haven't you posted it?" And I says, "Well," and he said, "Are you protecting him?" And I went, "I guess I am." And he says, "Well, would they protect you, mate, if it was the other way around?" And I said, "Probably not." And he went, "Well, there you go." So, like, I'm trying to help these guys. I'm actually trying to help these. It's like when I'm giving them critique. Like say Hadi Shoulders in 2021. Imagine if no one had actually said to him, and then he turns up at the 22 Olympia, and then the head judge says, "Oh, well, the reason we put you down in 3rd and you didn't win is because of that." And it's like, do you see what I'm getting at? Because everything I do is I take my profession seriously, and I've done it for many, many years. And there's a reason why I've been around as long as I have, and like you have, that's the reason why you and me work together, because. We're the last of the Mohicans, mate, And there's so much, and the thing is, the way that I despair daily about the way that the whole media thing has gone. And there are some good ones, there's a few out there that are fighting the good fight and keeping it positive. And, and I see some horrible things said, personal things about people and, and it's, and athletes. And I just think, to be honest, it would drive me nuts. But I don't know. The whole thing was just,
the last thing I want to say is my dream scenario here. Martin reaches out, apologizes. You guys get on good terms. You put a tour together across the UK and make a boatload of money together. Meet a ton of fans. Have a great time. Get some content, and everybody wins. I'd
love that, mate. I'd love that. I mean, I remember. I don't know. I shouldn't say his name, but there was someone that came at me. Remember at the Superstar seminar at the Olympia a few years ago?
Yes.
Do you remember? Yeah. And in fairness, he reached out to me because I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything on the forums, nothing. And then a few weeks later, he sending me these long messages, but there was no apology. So I just ignored him. And then he sent another message a couple of weeks later, and then right in the middle of it was, "I apologize." Oh. And then I responded straight away, and I said, "Mate, I won't say his name. I said, mate, we're good. You've apologized. We're good. And we've been fine ever since, you know, because I just thought, you know, even Milos have clashed, you know what I mean? And he actually has reached out to me and apologized and, you know, and came across with genuine intent as well, you know. But because at the end of the day, it was a small sport, mate. And I don't want to be going to shows feeling tense and, you know, and feeling sort of stressed and, you know, looking over my shoulder and thinking, oh, shit, if I go to the toilet, am I going to bump into him and then get head smashed into a wall? And, you know, because all these things run through your mind, you know. And, I mean, also, not just apologies, but I might send him the invoice for this bloody cardiologist appointment. Because seriously, like, my heart has been, like, it's been fluttering really badly, and I do worry about it. And even though it might be, the cardiologist might say, no problem, everything's fine, we've done a check, you know, because you have to pay extra as well then for the bloody scans and the, you know, like, I've got to be careful, mate. So, I don't know, whatever. That is what it is. But let me finish that the Ronnie thing, because I want to end on somewhat of a positive, you know. And also the Andrew Jack tour. That's, like I said, we spoke about that. So that's going to be, by the time you're watching this, it'll probably be out on Instagram, on the Olympia Instagram and Andrew's, because we're going to collab. Okay, we have this is from Ronnie. It's on the group chat, so I'm okay to repeat it. We've landed about an hour early. Woohoo! Thanks for all the help on this very successful tour. I would really like to thank you, Lauren. You went above and beyond, and you really didn't have to do that. Thank you, Chris, for all your help with the wheelchair and luggage every time we traveled. Thanks for your help with the fans. Giles, you did an amazing job of organizing this amazing tour. Had it not been for you, none of it would have been possible. Amazing job, my friend. I know the back and forth with Sean wasn't easy, but you guys pulled it off despite the setback when I was hospitalized. Until next time, crew, I can't wait to do this again, but for real, no time soon, no time soon. That was very taxing for us all, but we did it. Yeah, YBLWB, what does that mean?
Yeah, buddy, lightweight baby.
It still ain't nothing but a peanut. And then he said, oh, and I forgot. Like Giles always say, dream work, make the team work. Thank you to the entire team. I didn't mention Susan because she already knows I have something very special for her and she's my better half. Can't do nothing without her, as she knows. And then she said, Ronnie is what you have for me, big and sparkly. It's funny, you know, because he was talking about she had these special rings and tiny things. She had Mr. 8 or something. She had some to represent how many daughters they've got, and also how many Olympia titles. And she had a little dig. She says, "Well, because of course I had to pay for it myself." And then Ronnie looks up, he's eating his food, and he says, "I bought you a Mercedes Benz."
8 daughters and 8 Mr. Olympia titles. That's pretty crazy. Wow. Yeah. I mean, he's the best. We all love Ronnie, and you know, this was your third tour with Ronnie. Fourth. Wow. Fourth.
Yeah. And I think because I think Susan said he's gonna, because he was in Canada. That's why I messaged him today. I said, "How was Canada?" Because as soon as he got back 2 days home, and he was off to Canada, and I think he's off to Mexico now. But I said to her, she said, I said, look, Ronnie, you only need to give me a couple of months' notice. I'm sure I can always pull something together for you, whether it be in the UK, Europe, or anywhere. You know, because I get inquiries all the time, like Argentina the other day, and all these different countries of, you know, that want to, because obviously they know Ronnie's team knows that they can hand this to me, and they know, you know, and obviously, I mean, Susan Ronnie's wife had a fantastic time. She's like, I thought this was going to be a bit of a drag and it was going to be a slog. She says, but like, she genuinely, like, we've got 3 different group chats now. One for the cats, one for Ronnie. And she's got another one called the UK family, and she included the guys that Ronnie did the Sikh guys, Kumel and Tech, did the 2012 tour. So we're all, you know, constantly. She said, she goes, honestly, she says, I just I really, if Ronnie does another one, she says, guaranteed I'm coming. She said, because I had such a good time. So
nice, you
know, because things like. These tours are just so much fun, you know. Like I said, I mean, it's me having the nervous breakdowns beforehand and the back and forth, but you know, I'm the one, you know, sort of benefiting as well. But it's something that, you know, it's like I said, I don't like negativity. I don't like, and you got to work out what actual negativity is and what's actually positive, constructive. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't say like, Ron, I prefer your hair a different way. That's not being negative. That might be just my opinion. And there's something about an opinionated, subjective sport. We should be allowed to give our opinion. I mean, I hope I'm not dropping, but I spoke to Jay Cutler about it the other week as well. And he said, Giles, he said, you're just giving your opinion. He says, you know, like Terence Ruffin, me and Terence, we spoke about, because there was a bit of online stuff about me saying his midsection looked watery at the prejudging. And then me and Terence were talking about it. And he says, well, I disagree with you, Giles. He says, but it's your opinion. He just laughed about it, and then we just clinked glasses and had a drink. Great. So that's how it should be, you know.
There's another tour you got coming up, just to put it out there.
Yep.
Dennis Wolf, a big bad wolf, looking like an action hero there for sure.
Well, I was stressing about this one because we had promised him like the start of November, and then when the Ronnie tour got rescheduled, like some were biting. We got some bookings, and then others were like, "Well, we'd love to, but we've just had Ronnie, and we need time to promote." So I said to Dennis, "Look, Dennis, can we put this back to January, February, because we do have those months free, because March is going to be Andrew jacked, and then so on, and plus nothing's going on in December." I said, "Can we move it back?" I said, because it'll be a bigger, better tour, and I was so relieved because he said, "Yeah, Giles, absolutely no problem, mate, no problem." He says, if it makes the tour bigger and better, he says, then I'm all for it. So. Yeah, so I'm excited to tour with Dennis. I know he's a cool guy. I mean, you and I have interviewed him many, many times, and he was the first winner of the Prague show in 2012.
Well, that's right. He's been around.
He was good in his time when he was at his best. I mean, he was incredible.
Yeah, he's looking very athletic now, but he was a beast. He was huge. I'm actually happy to see him downsize because that gives me confidence he's going to live a lot longer. I'm not even joking. That's just a fact. Look at how big he was. He had these crazy wide shoulders. He was such a tall, wide guy, flaring thighs.
And thing is, like, you see the new picture of how he looks now.
Yeah.
Like, he looks like a men's physique, but you get close to him and in real life, and he's going to look huge. Like, he's still physically, like, if you saw him like a guy that size in like a nightclub or something, or on the doors or something, you'd be like, "God, that guy's jacked."
Yeah.
But like compared to obviously how we remember him, there like 2008, that was. Yeah. I mean, he was phenomenal. I remember when he really, because 2006 he didn't make top 50 in the Olympia, and then he came back in 2007, and I think he should have beat Ronnie. I think he deserved fourth. I mean, the fresh, the wide shoulders, the crazy upper back, and in fact, I pissed Branch off actually because I said to him in Sweden. I've actually said to him twice in Sweden. I said in fact, remember when Branch won it in 2011 at Yarn, because you and me were covering it for MD.
Yeah, he won it 2 years,
and then
11 and 12.
And then I remember right before the Olympia, the Branch tore his quad, and they had to pull out of the Olympia. Then he came back to the Arnold. And won the Arnold. I mean, it's but I actually had we were there. I actually had Dennis winning that one. Because Branch was awesome, but Dennis was just I thought he deserved that one.
Oh, he was fantastic.
What was else I going to say about Dennis as well? Something else I was going to say about him. I can't remember. Yeah, what was it? No, can't remember.
It's all right. Yeah, he was fantastic in his time.
Nice guy as well.
Yeah. Great sense of humor. Speaks fluent English, Russian, and German. Mm-hmm. So he's got a huge fan base. All right, that's enough.
I wonder if it might be worth pushing to get some seminars in Germany, and he just does it in German. I mean, I don't need to understand the seminar. I just need to get him there.
I think I see the popularity of bodybuilding in Germany. Any German, there's a few channels in German from Germany on YouTube. The bodybuilding, they get huge views because the people there are very, very passionate, and they love to see the content in German. And guys like Dennis and Marcus Rule are still revered as in the pantheon of the greatest German bodybuilders of all time.
Do you know, apparently Marcus Rule at FIBO had like the kind of security I had for Ronnie in Amsterdam, like literally like a team of security, like some of these influencers get, which is I think bollocks, to be honest. But like apparently he needed like actual, like in Germany at the expert, like his popularity, and apparently his stand was because he's got like a supplement thing going. But like in Germany, like he's still really, really, really popular. And I think I'm starting to think now maybe that Urz's popularity comes from, like, say Ramondino does in Brazil, like the support and the majority of the fan frenzy comes from their own country, you know, which is kind of cool to see, really. But yeah, so
let's wrap it up because we got the positivity in there at the end.
Thank God. No, it's the whole thing. To be honest, I really wanted to try and keep all that completely bare and dealt with offline, but unfortunately, it takes one little and then that's it. Boom, it's out there.
I think people will will realize it wasn't me that sent it to Matt at Muscle Discord. I wouldn't have sent that to him.
You sure, Ron?
No, it wasn't me. So
Look me in the eye. Tell me.
Christian, I showed it to Christian. He's like, "Who's that?" That's my wife. They don't even know who he is. Of course, they don't follow the sport. But yeah, I'm glad we got it out there. And again, we're not. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I one final thing? I've got to give a special mention to that Damien, the guy who got third. Sazin, on his Instagram. My God, that guy is because AJ told me when we were doing the Prague live stream, he was saying that he's ex-classic, and this guy is like, I can only liken him to like he's like a cross between Gunter and Marcus Rule with the conditioning of like a 70-kilo guy. I mean, he blew my mind actually. There were two guys in Prague that really, really impressed me. It was that 23-year-old, with the Massiege or something. But this guy, I mean, I see that photo doesn't really highlight how impressive it is because look at him next to Andrew there.
Jeez.
Do you see what I mean? You think about how big Andrew is and how much space he takes up. I mean, this guy is one to watch because he's actually, when he poses, he tilts the hips. He can actually look quite aesthetic. Like that shot there, that looks like that's a kind of look at it, got the delts. But the thing is, we got loads of big guys out there. The guys that don't make top 10 who are just big, but no conditioning, no separation. Look at the quality. Look at the quality of his detail, separation, the dryness. And I mean, I saw him backstage and I was like, holy shit. I mean, this guy is a beast. But I'm glad he got a good placing because now he can shut it down and say that he made top 3 in a good show against, good quality competition. But here's a guy that I think he really was for me, him with Joe Palacios, I think are the two, I'd say they're the two biggest breakout stars of the season. But he's awesome. Honestly, you've got to see him in the flesh, but he's incredible.
Yeah, that's great. So that is Saiyan Fitness Freak.
Honestly, guys, check him out because he must have been 120, 125 kilo plus. I mean, to be that, because I saw him backstage and it's the conditioning and the skin quality. I mean, I can't imagine how big he is in the off season. He was an absolute monster, but quality,
Do you know what Saiyan is? Do you know what that word means?
Not a Scooby.
It's from Dragon Ball Z cartoon.
Oh, okay. Urs is into all that bollocks, isn't he?
Yes, a lot of them are. My son's hugely into it. So that's Damien.
There's Martin with his punch Giles energy. Look at him though. I mean, he's just amazing. And also Joe Semmer as well. I mean, what can you say about Joe Semmer? He's incredible.
Joe Semmer was shredded out of his skull as usual.
If he ever, I said this online, I said on Instagram today, I said, if he ever drops out of the top 10 at Olympia, I said, that guy can just go back into open and make an immediate impact because he's 23, 24?
24.
Incredible. I mean, if you were a Spanish supplement company, I mean, this guy, he must have his door being beaten down to because he's a good looking guy. I spoke to him and he's marketable. You could imagine him in some sort of some ad that would appeal to any demographic because look at him. He's another one. He legit looks like a superhero.
Yeah, that's his best shot right there. I would just frame that if I were him.
I saw that in the flesh as well at Empro last year, and it's as impressive as it is on Instagram.
He's with is he with ESN? He's got that one.
I don't know. I don't know for sure. Possibly. Everyone else is.
Yeah, I mean, it says collabs. I don't know if he's sponsored by them or not. But
also Lauren's going to do some because obviously we do different Olympia All-Star tours. Lauren's going to do a UK gym tour with Shelley, who won the Fitness Olympia.
Oh wow, okay.
So we're gonna because I said to her, look, I said there's a way that you can do these workshops and Shelley because we took Shelley to the FitX. We took Ryan Terry, Shelley and Ronnie, which is 3, that was huge for them to have there. I mean, Ryan was only there a few hours and he got mobbed. So I said to Lauren, because we've worked with Ashley before and we've worked with, Classic and all these different categories. Ideally, I'd like to work with every single division that we can because it's not just about the Andrew Jacks and the Ronnies and the, we want to kind of give, because Olympia All-Star Tour, and we really want to give that same opportunity and support to all the divisions. So, because like Shelley now, she's got an opportunity now to promote her division because fitness kind of needs it. I think like fitness figure, I think they kind of need to, because otherwise if, when 212 got dropped at the Arnold Classic, you've got to you got to kind of show up for your own division. Otherwise, how can you expect other people to? And, you know, sponsors, fans, competitors. So I think she's, because she had a great time. She would literally run her every time I lost Laura, I'd look over and then they'd be over there, you know, with like a queue of fans in the middle of the expo with her Olympia medal around her neck, having photos, you know, putting her leg up and stuff like that. So it was, and then we had Ronnie and obviously the huge queues there. So it was, and then Ryan, obviously, with all the chicks queuing up to meet him.
Of course, he's a good-looking dude. So,
yeah.
All right,
there's a few of us about, mate.
That's true. Let's wrap it up, guys. So if you have any comments about Andrew Jack's new improved look, his chances for winning the Arnold, the Olympia, anything you want to say about him, anything you want to say about the Martin Fitzwater incident, you can be on his side or Giles' side. It's all the comments are good. Doesn't matter. It helps the algorithm. I still don't know what an algorithm is, but I know you're supposed to help the algorithm. Sounds like a math thing. That's why I probably draw a blank. Giles, thank you once again, especially for, you know, talking about this. I know you had no intentions, no desire to talk about this, but we got it out there, and I think we did it in a responsible and respectable way. We didn't throw him under the bus.
I hope so. I'm not trying to get anyone into any trouble. I'm not trying to get him. Do you know what I mean? But it's like I have to. I think, like I said to you on the group chat, and I said I think there's almost like a responsibility to kind of address this because, like, what next? You know, you, me, Miguel, or whoever, or these people at the shows. It's like you kind of got to let people know that it's not acceptable and it's not good for anyone. Like, it didn't benefit anyone. That happening, you know, so you need to kind of deal with things, you know, so we can all kind of help everyone to grow, because it's like we all have our roles, we all have a contribution that we make, and we all kind of, I think we all kind of need to, I think we do need to get along and stuff like that. So I think things do need to be resolved in a respectful and classy way, because that sort of thing can't really happen. I'm sorry.
I agree. And on that note, we'll call it another Power Hour. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, drop some comments, like, share, subscribe. Come on, Ron, you can do this. And that's it. Thank you, Giles. We'll see you next week on the next episode of the Power